So it's not very often that I let somebody get under my skin to the point where I want to make a video response directly to them. And some of you may appreciate this and some of you may not appreciate this. I told a story in an honest fashion about a situation that happened when I was younger as a Jiffy Lube salesman. Mind you, I'm a master tech at a dealership now. I have this channel with thousands of videos on it where I help somebody every single day, some kind of way, free. I give back to my community. I try to build a relationship with brothers and sisters from all over the world. Today a lady came in and she needed a bunch of work done to her vehicle and she was in a bad spot. It was about a 6-hour job. I asked the service writer to pay the dealership accordingly, but bring it down to an employee rate because I knew how serious the situation was, and I asked them to do that as a favor for me, and they did, which saved the woman a ton of money. Here recently, had a single mother come in that ended up trusting somebody to look at her brakes. Needless to say, they pawned it off as a problem, a recall that was going to come out in the future from the dealership, and it was indeed not the dealership's recall that was the fault. You guys seen how I took care of this lady, how I went the extra step, how I ripped apart the entire braking system on her car. I went the extra mile of grinding down, painting, and sealing everything back up and making sure that it would be a long time before she would have to get serviced by a dealer again. I went above and beyond. I've had people come in where I literally give up my labor to discount the overall ticket price to make it fit within somebody's budget because they couldn't afford to pay the ticket. I had a lady come in that okayed the repairs at first and told her it would be about 2 hours worth of work to get the job done, and broke down in tears because when she was looking at her finances and was going to pay everything, she couldn't pay the bill. So they discounted the bill so much that she walked away with almost 50% of what the bill that was due, just so she could pay for it. I help people out all the time. I have other shops that call me up. I have you guys on this channel that ask me for help all the time. I'm sending out part numbers, telling people about recalls and fixes, sharing information constantly with people across the board. So based on that story that I told about my younger self, working at an oil change place, and one specific situation where I took advantage of somebody as a salesman and sold a bunch of stuff that didn't have to be done. And this was in reference to showing you guys how gullible young people can be at these quick lube places, at these Jiffy Lubes, and valvoline this and that, and what happens, and how they're basically groomed by people in the industry that just want them to sell, and not necessarily be honest about what they're doing. I shared my personal story in faith that people would take that honesty and they would learn from what happened to me and the honest nature that I was speaking of, and got out of that business and became a professional where I didn't take advantage of people. This gentleman popped up on my page saying how a leopard can't change their spots. He said I would never make a video saying the things that you did about basically the education on a specific situation where I took advantage of somebody else and realized it was wrong and got out of the business and did not do that anymore. Felt bad for it, felt terrible for it, and why it's one of the reasons today why I give so much of my time and my effort and my help to other people to help them. It was a very disingenuous thing for this man to say to me. But people that have this mindset, especially somebody specifying that he's been in the field for 35 years, or he's been doing his own work for 35 years, that would put you at over 35 years old, saving yourself tons of money. Then you should realize, as an adult in growth and the happenings in life, that a leopard can't change their spots isn't necessarily applicable to somebody's behavior. That's like saying your child acting out as a child can't change their behavior and they actually grow up to be a pretty decent human being. That's like saying that one time that somebody did something bad to you means that they're going to do something bad to you like that for the rest of their life, so that you disown them. It's a very disingenuous thing to say. It's a hurtful thing to say. People on this channel see that I'm updating you on recalls. I'm fighting for you every step of the way to try to help you figure out what's going on with warranty stuff, how to get your stuff covered so you don't have to pay out of pocket for it. And I'm constantly doing nothing but educating people all the time. Why a person would say such hateful things as this man and stick to it. Said I gave this video a thumbs down because of something that you did, 18 years ago, 19 years ago. Something that you did as a child and admitted that it was wrong and basically learned from it and chose to become a professional and not take advantage of a customer. Not do those types of things anymore. What type of person would say that to somebody that's admitted their fault, realized that they were wrong, and chose to become a professional in the field? I don't understand how anything like that is applicable in any sense. So, for this to become a part of anything in my life in a negative aspect, by telling the truth, by openly talking about the things that go on in these... So, I don't understand this mindset. I don't get hurt or really offended by many people, but this kind of did hurt. This kind of made me think about a gentleman that's had something bad happen to him or so miserable in his own life that he wants everybody else to adhere to his standards. Instead of talking about the things that happen in life and enlightening other people to educate them on this type of stuff happening, he would rather somebody shut up because it hurts his feelings or he thinks something's wrong with it. Now I'm going to show you the clip of what this guy said here, and I'll let you decide for yourself on whether or not it's a genuine thing to say. To be honest with you, sir, if you watch this video, if you take the time to watch this, it shows a lot about your character. It shows a lot about those 35 years plus that you've lived and how you have... trying to bite my tongue and not say the things that are at the top of my mind right now. The growth factor there in those 35 years and what you've said in this comment, it really is the icing on the cake. It really goes to show how somebody has developed. It really goes to show the lack of empathy. Not only that, that part of you that sees the growth in somebody and says, man, this kid started out on the wrong path and now he's a grown man, a professional in the field. Let me go ahead and take a second to look through his channel here and see how many people are responding. See how many people are stuck out in the oil field, out in the middle of a highway somewhere. Recently, a guy was on a camping trip, left and got about 2 hours away from home and said, dude, I watched your video on the F-150 connector. I have a 14 in the kick panel and my vehicle was dead on the side of the road. You literally saved my trip. You literally saved me having to have my vehicle towed to a dealership and everything else. I did exactly what you said. I made sure the connector and everything was plugged back in. You literally saved my family's weekend. I really appreciate everything. I love you. Thank you for everything, man. That was a huge savior to me. Well, COVID has been going on for the last year. Everybody's been locked up. Families are wanting to get out and do things now that things are starting to open up all over the place. I bet he really was that appreciative. I don't know how many people I get out in the oil field in Texas and Louisiana and stuff all the time that message me and say, dude, I did exactly what you said. I was afraid I was going to have to sit here for 2 hours. Everybody left. I was stuck out in this parking lot. There was nobody here to help me. I fired up my vehicle by following exactly what you said to do. I got guys from California. I had a young Hispanic guy. They had just got a new job, a newborn baby, and a wife and stuff. And he messaged me and he said, man, I took that fuel pump fuse that you were talking about and I popped it in and started my vehicle right up. I just have to say, I had to call you and tell you how much I appreciate you. I had to call you and tell you how much you saved me. And I got the job, man. It's great. I've been working and I just appreciate everything that you do. Keep doing it. You know how many women message me on my channel and say, my vehicle was down at the grocery store. I couldn't get the groceries in it. The kids were fussing and everything else. I did exactly what you said. I crawled through the middle of the back seats. I popped off the bottom light on the trunk. I put the little screwdriver I had in the car right in that latch, popped the trunk open, got my groceries and stuff in there and got home. Thank you for everything. Can I pay you? Can I do something? Can I offer you money? No. I want your support. I want you as a subscriber. I want you as a part of this automotive community of positivity and building relationships. That's what I want. But a leopard, remember what this gentleman said. A leopard can't change their spots. Well, sir, I'm not a leopard. I'm a human being. And I make mistakes. And I made a mistake 19 years ago. And I was honest about it this morning to educate people about what goes on in these facilities. I didn't brag about it. I said it was wrong. I said I felt sorry for it. And I should have never done what I did. But I told an honest, true story about the situation. I'm a bad person for that. I'm a bad person for what I did 19 years ago, and I've continued to pay for it ever since. And I make sure every day that I'm in this field, I don't do stuff like that because it was the wrong thing to do, and I wouldn't want somebody to do it to me. I think I would choose wisely about how I project my own insecurities or beliefs or opinions on other people before you actually go find out about that person and see what they do for their community. People can change. And just because somebody did something wrong one time, a couple times, which I only did this one time, and I felt terrible for it. I took advantage of a girl as a salesman trying to prove myself to my superiors that I could sell a bunch of stuff, and then I didn't do it. At a Jiffy Lube, $500 worth of product sold, and almost none of it. I did the oil change, topped off the coolant, put her stuff back in her vehicle just the same way it was, and sent her on her way. I felt bad. I never did it again. Shortly after that, I went off to the military. I served 15 months in Iraq. I came home. I changed myself after that. I just couldn't do it anymore. I went and volunteered my time at the community service, at my community service hours that I had to do because I got in some trouble for street racing back as a kid. Changed my life. Went and volunteered my time at the college, assisted teaching, math and social studies and stuff like that. People with GEDs needed help. I went and volunteered all my time to do that stuff, just so I could get myself right, so I can get my community service hours done. I went off to the military, 15 months in Iraq, came home, blew out both knees, and now I continue to try to serve my community the best that I can, trying to bring people together and build relationships with people the best that I can. I think I would be very careful about judging people before you know about them. It was a pretty hurtful thing to say, an ignorant thing to say, to be honest with you. And I mean that with no disrespect. It was a very ignorant, disingenuous thing to say, and I'll share it with everybody else. This is the type of person that you don't want to be. Dutchman says, the reason I gave this video a thumbs down is because I have had unethical crooks like your younger self try unsuccessfully to pull this crap on me. Thankfully, I know my way around cars and didn't fall for any of this shite. After a couple of these incidents, I purchased a set of ramps and started doing my own oil changes, saving myself lots of money over the last 35 years and having the peace of mind knowing the job was done right. This is exactly why I don't trust mechanics. If I were you, I wouldn't go around advertising your past. It makes a person wonder if your integrity is still able to be compromised by money. Leopards don't change their spots. My response to him is, I'd like to make a video response to this. I am offended by this indeed, but I feel like this deserves a true, sincere response to you. I feel like what you said here was awful, and I will respond in a respectful way, and hopefully you rethink and choose your words differently next time. Your character shows not only through your mouth, but mainly your actions. Video response will come about. Please watch it with an open mind. What you've said is what you've said, but sir, your character is speaking of you right now.